We don't talk about money or sex in America.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Money Is Show. And this week we've got an awesome guest, my good friend Robert Syfert out of Tampa, Florida. And I brought him on the show because I want him to show you what he does at realestateinvestor.com. Now, just think about that title just in general, domain, realestateinvestor.com, which has probably got you written all over it. And he's the visionary and founder of that company, done over 500 real estate transactions. And realestateinvestor.com is a way for you to get all your tools, all the training, all the kind of done for you marketing to bring in the lead gen for you, the CRM for you. It's a one-stop shop for you. So I'm going to break it down with you today on the show with Robert here from Tampa on the realestateinvestor.com. You guys join us today. Robert, great to have you, bro.
Hey.
Great
to be on here.
I don't know if we can do that. That may be illegal, right? I don't know.
Might be. I don't know.
I might go to jail. I'm going to get fined for sure.
That's a great point.
No, dude, I appreciate you coming out. I know it's a long flight. From Tampa.
Yes.
Was that a direct?
I did get a direct, fortunately, but it was
bad?
still almost 5 hours.
Dude, I told you I live out in St. Augustine, Florida, and so I flew out of Jacksonville, Delta, which means I have an immediate stop, like 30 minutes into Atlanta. Drives me freaking nuts, man.
Yeah.
But dude, I'm glad you came out. I know you wrote the book, which I want to talk to you about. Who Am I? I Am You. Great, because I understand what it is. Great freaking title and branding attached to it there. And I know you done it to real estate from rental properties to turnkey in multiple states, fix and flips. But before we get to all that side of the stuff, back me up for a little bit here. Tell me a little bit about how, what was it like growing up, Robert? What was it childhood like? Rich family, poor family, entrepreneur? What was it like?
Yeah, so growing up for me, I am the product of two parents that are still married today.
Wow.
So 43 years, going on 44 years. So
Yeah.
I have an exemplary model in that. Upper normal middle class. And so what I mean by that, just two families that work hard, teach you to work hard, go to school, get a good job. Right, so that was my upbringing. Did really well in school. No entrepreneurial backbone anywhere in my family, right?
Wow.
Which stifled mine.
Yeah, sure. What does your mom and dad do? What did they do growing up?
Yeah, so my mom has always been related to food in some way.
Okay.
So I can remember days of her being the regional manager back at like Pizza Hut and running pizza shops and food, and then she's escalated and can continue to train and grow, and so she does like the whole dietary division of like nursing home facilities.
Okay.
And then my dad, several different things. He's a factory worker, more industrial age, gone all the time. That's the biggest memory I have of most of my childhood. And then eventually that collapsed, closed, and he got into over-the-road truck driving. So he was gone all the time, driving gas rigs. And then now he's actually retired from disability from all the driving and like things that.
So you grew up seeing the blue-collar, hardcore, day in, day out, 5, 6, 7 days a week sometimes. Of the grind, if you will.
Work.
And did they want you to go to college?
They did, absolutely. You know, that's the now being a parent, I can say it's the wanting better for their kids. So
for sure.
That was what they thought would be better.
It's amazing how like that kind of concept hit like our parents, right? We're close to the same age. And it wasn't from a bad spot. It was really from a good position where they were saying, hey, you gotta have something better than I have. Like, this is not the answer. I don't know what it is, but it's not this, right? And to them, it was like the only thing they could tell you is go here, and maybe that's the answer, right? Like, it's amazing how many people I interview that have that kind of philosophy. And now it's almost kind of shifted where it's like, I don't have a kid yet, and I don't know when my opinion may change when I do have one. But it's like, I don't know if I would want my kid to go to college.
I don't.
Unless it's just to have fun. Like, hey, you know what? Because I have the money. Dude, go there, have fun, screw around. I mean, like, meet friends and enjoy it. But the learning side of it, like, I don't know if unless you go into a specialty, doctor, lawyer, right, like that type of thing. But if you're gonna go just get a bachelor's, like, there's probably way better stuff you could go do, especially in business, right?
There is.
That you could get into. And you got kids now?
I do. I actually have a he'll be 24. So I have a 24-year-old. And he'll be 3 in December. So big
That's a
broad
big,
difference.
broad spread there, right?
Yep.
You got a 3-year-old right now.
Yeah, he'll be 3 in December.
Okay,
Almost there.
All right, so let me tell me about this. Tell me about kind of big picture here. I know you've done all these different businesses, but what is kind of like your main 30,000 foot view of what you do right now in business for the viewers?
Yeah, so it's real estate. Everything to do with real estate. Now, it started off with me buying and fixing and flipping houses and wholesaling and eventually doing property management and all the stuff that came along with that, right? It developed into solving a problem for myself in my own business so I could scale.
Okay.
That problem ended up being a problem for tons of people doing real estate as well.
Okay.
And so I ended up developing the software and the solutions that allowed me to scale, right? And then I got turned into a software developer as a result. Tied to real estate though. So
right.
I've just solved other people's problems, and then it really a light bulb clicked for me and said, wow, I am doing the real estate and I enjoy real estate because I can help so many people, families, houses, and I thought of it from sellers, buyers, tenants, right? What opened my eyes to want to go into the software was realizing, well, if I can affect and make all the people that do what I do better and more efficient at what they do, their families, their cities, and then all the people they touch are affected. So it just became it came from a place of being able to serve way more people. And monetarily, at the end of that, it would mean something well for my family as well. So now, 30,000 square foot view, I still have a real estate operation. I've brought in partners to run that for me. My sole focus is realestateinvestor.com, where we're literally the tools, the services, if you need something and you want to be a real estate investor, no matter where you are, if you're learning and studying like I did, or you're scaling and growing, we have the solution for you, and that's it.
Take me back to, I want to back up before we go to the software side and the CRM that you created. I want to back up to how you got into real estate, right? So back us up to whatever age that was. What made you go that direction, if you will?
Yeah, that'll bring me back to the childhood and entrepreneurial being stifled.
Okay.
18 years old out of high school, I watched a Russ Whitney infomercial.
Oh my gosh,
and I wanted to get into real estate. I was hooked and never did it. Studied everything because I had to have a good job. There's no job in real estate at the time, right? So looked at all the houses, loved it. I got the idea of it. Fast track over a decade of studying and wanting to do it, but couldn't figure it out. Then I started Richard Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad, really got excited. Went to a seminar of his, 3 seminars in 2008.
Okay.
And mortgages started to want to do real estate.
Right.
That was my closest touch to it. Fast track that to, man, it's been almost 8 or 9 years now. Still didn't do it then, right?
Okay.
And then finally there was a pivotal moment, a lot of bad going on, which I talk about.
In the book?
Talk about all that led up to the pivotal moment where there was I worked for a finance company and was going through a lot of bad stuff at the same time, and the owner had one-on-one meetings. And in the one-on-one meeting, he said something that forever changed my life.
Okay.
And he said, I was supposed to be at the highest level of that organization and I wasn't. There was nothing else I could learn to get there. So he felt the only thing holding me back was I kept talking about this real estate thing. So I was trying to serve 2 things at once and never focusing. I literally walked out of the office, and within 5 minutes of driving down the street going to my appointment, turned around and came back and said, I get it, I quit, I love everything you've ever taught me, you've just taught me the biggest lesson, I need to go all into real estate. And I was always afraid to, so I did. I burned all my boats, so to speak, bridges, everything, and did my second real estate deal, because I did one previously a few months before that. And then that was it, history as they wrote. I literally just took off from that point, and I've had struggles. There's been ups and downs, there's been new challenges, but that was it. I started doing houses. I now looking back and knowing the terms, I was wholesaling properties, which then turned into, well, I can make more money if I rehab it, and I control that part. So then I stared doing that, and
natural progression, right?
Yeah, natural progressions from that point.
Tell me back, because there's a unique point here that I think a lot of investors that are watching right now freaking struggle with, which is you want to get in it at 18, and whatever it was, a decade later, 12 years later, read everything, read all these articles and books and blogs, whatever it was, watched all these YouTube videos, still hadn't done it, right? Why do you think that people, yourself included at that time, why do you think people struggle with just going out and doing it?
I think, one, it all comes back to roots from where we grow up and the mental programming you're given. Today I would say that. When I first started I wouldn't have, but I think that's a big part of it, at the underlying root of all of it. Outside of that, it's we have a fear of not being enough, guilt with our families, right? We have I say stories. We have the stories in our mind of how people are going to perceive us.
Yeah.
What's going to happen if I fail, right? And so we feel like, or at least I felt like, I just need to learn more before I could do anything. The ironic part to that story is I knew nothing once I got started after all that studying.
Yep.
And I learned so much more in taking action that if I could go back, or what I would tell both of my sons, just do it.
Yep.
Like, do it.
I was hoping this was going to lead to.
Yeah.
Like, it's a truthful question. Like, I want to know the answer, and it's like, obviously, you've trained a ton of people now in real estate.
Yeah.
I've trained people, and it's like, I think people get stuck in this concept of like, because they're afraid of exactly what you said, failure, of course, but also I think a lot of it is what other people are going to think of them if they fail, and they're so consumed by like what is someone else going to think, and they just keep saying, oh, I just got to read this one more thing, or go to this one more event, or whatever it is, right? Spend more time on this website, and at the end of the day, there's no way to know every freaking answer to the question, especially in a blog, YouTube format. Like,
no.
It's almost like, like to a point of like real life. You just got to go. I'm 100% for you studying. And I don't miss that point out. I have no issue with studying and growing and learning, but I think most people are using it as a crutch as to why they're not going to do freaking deals. If I look back in my career, it's like the one place I got kind of lucky at was I got started when I was 21, and I feel like I was almost too dumb to know that I could have failed. You know what I mean? Like I had that like bulletproof, like, oh, I'm 21.
A friend like that.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I'll just go flip a house, you know? And I knew nothing about it, but beginner's luck, I suppose. And I remember watching, did you ever watch those TV shows like the original like flipping houses?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember this one. The original one was from a guy in South Carolina, Charleston, named Richard something. If you remember now. He was like the original, he actually created the show. And he actually, crazy enough, sued, I think it was A&E, because they took the idea to flip this house and like, you know, they branched it off to all this stuff.
Oh.
And it was literally like his brainchild. And he had him in a contract. He sued him, and I think he won millions and millions of dollars off of it.
Wow.
But that was like my teacher. Was flip this house in real estate. But I totally agree with your answer, bro. I think so much of it has to do with the fear, and then thinking that you're going to master everything from a postcard or whatever it is, right? Like you got to get involved.
I need the special lead. I need the special contract. I need the special
whatever
fill in the blank.
They put a crutch.
You don't need any of that.
Yeah, just you got to go, bro.
Yes.
You've got to go. So you get started. You go through this process, which probably a lot of the viewers can relate to you, of having that struggle. And you do your first deal. What did you start with? Wholesale?
Yeah.
That was your first deal?
Yeah, my first deal was wholesale. My very first deal before I burned all the bridges was actually a family member was going to lose their house and had a probate situation, and they knew I was playing with trying to do it. So they brought it to me, and then I met a guy who was a the caveman pictures. I forgot the franchise. It was a franchise model. He was the biggest one in Detroit. So he was going to buy it. And then I just stuck with it for months. And then eventually I wholesaled him the house. He taught me a little bit, and I still was afraid. But I knew enough, like, man, I made some money. And I actually bought more training with that. I was like, that was stupid.
It's funny. It's like,
and I love training. I agree.
You gotta grow.
You gotta learn.
Nothing against it. Like,
but implementation.
It comes to a point where you're starting to use the training as a crutch, basically, right? Of why you can't go do it. And it's crazy because full circle. Now your platform, realestateinvestor.com, plus what you do is really just giving away the training, basically. Like, dude, look, here's how you go do it. If you need, let's say, whatever is this service or help, we can help you with it. But here's how you go do real estate right now. And you kind of came full circle into now giving all away the actual education itself.
Yeah, I think a lot of the education in the back before was more, leading you into selling you something else you needed. So they never really told you they told you enough, right? Which I think helped to create a crutch too. Where now we're very much more focused. No, look, just go do step 1, 2, 3. Like that's it. Pick up the phone and call somebody. Right, and talk. Until that happens, it doesn't matter what you know, right? You'll figure out the rest from there. You can be honest with someone and tell them, look, I don't know a lot, but I have a partner, a friend, whatever, and we're looking to buy houses. It's that simple. And then we give you all those resources for free too.
As you grow your real estate business, wholesale, fix and flip, turnkey, landlording, property management, right? You just kept going. You address something that probably another group of people struggle with that are watching, which is learning how to go from your first handful of deals in a year, 4 or 5 deals, to freaking scaling it. Because there's a massive difference of doing 100 houses a year and doing 5 houses a year, right?
Yes.
Whether it be wholesale or fix and flip or landlord, it doesn't really matter. There's a massive difference, and a lot of people struggle with how do you, in any business really, it doesn't really matter, right? It can be a hair salon that they run right now. They struggle with scaling. And you kind of, I guess, I would say fell in the place of like, okay, I got to scale. There wasn't a system to scale, and you just said, screw it, I'll just create the system then. Is that kind of how it took place?
That's really good analogy of it. So I did I was trying to make up for the 20 years of studying and saying, I'm going to learn by fire. I will figure it out. And so I got into all those things really because it just became I'll solve that problem. Yes, I'll solve that problem too. Yes, I'll figure that out, right? The management that we were referring people to sucked. We took it in-house and we had to figure out how to systematize it, which is actually easier than it was, right? Because if you just strip it down to the simple core, what has to happen to make this relationship with the tenant better, to make this relationship for the management better? What if I was in their shoes, what would I want to see, and how do we create a process around that? So it's what started the creation of processes and systems, because if you don't have processes and systems, you can't scale.
It's possible,
like, you could try.
Right.
And I did it, right? I did it without all of that, and that was the hustling, burning myself to the ground, 15-hour workdays that I got taught. Again, back to my mental programming, that was okay to do, but systems and processes are the way to go.
I want to hit on that point right there. It's a unique point you made, kind of off the thread for a second, which you just said you were growing, building your personal business at the time of real estate, and you were in that phase of hustling, 15, 18-hour days, 7 days a week, making some money, but nonstop hustling and grinding.
Yes.
So I have this issue, okay, that in entrepreneurship, that we have glorified the hustle versus the profit. You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
There's this concept that says like, oh, we just got to go. If you just go hustle and work and hustle and hustle, eventually it'll break through.
Yeah.
And I think somehow or another we like made this. And I said there's not hustle. There's freaking hustle in it.
There is.
But I don't know why we're glorifying it. That's like the worst phase of it, if you will. You want to get to the profitability phase, so you can actually now scale and choose what you want. Do you want freedom? Do you want more time? Do you want more control? Or whatever it is, right? But if you're just hustling, you'll actually never get what you're looking for. Am I right on that?
You're 100% of the money.
Yeah.
I got into real estate because there was so much money in real estate and freedom.
Yeah.
Right, that was supposed to come
That's
with that.
What we're all, the
glorified guy on the yacht and the cars and the house and vacations. And I got into more work than I ever did, which because I can hustle, right? We can, and there is I agree, there's a necessary component to that. I love someone I follow. Just broke this down, totally different than anything I've ever seen. He broke down the phases of business in a different way. First phase is hustle, right? That's really your startup and your perseverant phase where you've got to hustle to get this thing going, or hire hustles around you to grow it, to get it to profit.
Right.
For him, I liked where he went next, and he said the next stage is you become an entrepreneur, where you realize you can't do it alone, you can't hustle alone, you have to hire people, and you have to grow the revenue, right? You've got to grow, you've got to scale. But there has to be a point where most people get stuck in those two phases.
The first two,
right? We get stuck there, and then it's grow, go, and we get lost.
Right.
We never focus on phase 3, which is when you become a real CEO.
Yeah.
And so a real CEO is someone who metrically looks at profit. Growth for growth's sake is stupid, right? Back then I didn't know that. Now I would look back and go, what were you doing? Why? Why go grow $3 million in revenue if I'm not making more profit as a result?
Right.
Profit matters. And the people you're serving, you're not doing them a service if you're not profitable, because you won't be around.
Right.
So what service are you providing if you're not a profitable business?
And it goes back to literally almost to the point of why I did the money is. It's like, why are you doing $3 million of extra revenue if the purpose of you to become successful in business was actually something else that you wanted, right? Like, I think for most entrepreneurs that are watching right now, myself included, I didn't actually at one point care what I did as far as the vehicle. Like, I didn't like love real estate. It was just a vehicle that I could use to get me to actually what I really, really wanted in life. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like love real estate. I was trying to use it for something. And then we get stuck in the wheel, basically. And like you said, because we're entrepreneurs and we're not afraid, probably one of the biggest groups of people that are not afraid to freaking pound the sand and just go at it 7 days a week. Like, somehow or another, it's irrelevant to us, right? But I think we lose focus of what we're really trying to accomplish inside of it there. Those phases of business you were talking about, I call them startup phase, perseverance phase, the grind phase, and then you have what you call CEO, I call it the profitability phase. And somewhere or another we got like hyper focus in this like grinding perseverance phase, which is like if you're actually in business, it's like the worst phase. Like the worst. Startup is funner, in my opinion, right?
It is.
It's like
exciting and new.
Yeah, so startup that you can dream and have, like, you're a visionary, I'm a visionary. Like, I love startup phase. I actually love skipping grind. I love skipping actually profitability. And I love to go to stage 4, which is scalability. Like, I love going from startup, scalability inside of it, right? But yeah, dude, I have a bone to pick with.
I do too.
That side of it, right? So you did all these deals, you're grinding, you're hustling. At some point, it kind of kicks in and says, I'm missing the boat on this concept. Is that kind of how you lead into the software, CRM that you created? Trying to solve the problem?
Yeah, we two things happened for me that really made me wake up. One was a trip. Made a bunch of money, right? But couldn't enjoy it every trip we did. I was losing my marriage without even knowing I was doing that, because I was on my phone working on vacation. So
in Hawaii, I was on my phone, bro, at the beach.
First international trip, went to the Dominican Republic, and we didn't realize we had to like change something with Verizon, so we had no international service and lost service. I almost lost my mind. But at the same token, it forced me to have a vacation. And in that moment, I literally said, this is what I got into real estate for.
Almost by accident, kind of fell into it.
I've got to go home and fix all this. Which then led into systems and processes and what is now the software, right? To solve that problem. How do I have to get out of this? I can't be grinding. I can't be go, go, go. So I have to set up the systems and processes to be able to bring the people in to be able to do that without me. And that moment, that trip literally changed everything for me.
So a little bit before the software, when you start the CRM, you are obviously heavy into finding lead gen, motivated sellers. Right? That's which is really in any business, but especially real estate, is like the golden goose, right? Like if you can create the lead, right, that's where the money's gonna lie at. You're hyper focusing on this lead gen, creating and perfecting the process of finding the motivated seller. In that discovery, you find out tons of stuff about actually how to close the deal, do the deal. Before the CRM, you kind of create is it fair to say a list management company where you were marketing to all this data to get into it?
Yeah, it kind of went hand in hand. Right, the CRM allowed the business operations to do, but on the lead perspective, being able to go after the right people, 100% came down to, well, how do we manage the data, so that we make sure that we're going after the right property, right? There's no point in going after every single property in a market, because most of them aren't going to sell to me, right? Most of them don't fit what I need. Most of them aren't the portfolio house I have to go after, right? So we had to build a way to manage all the stuff and make sure we were going after the right things, right? And then
because you see a lot of people that they get into the industry, and obviously direct mail is like still a kind of king of the hill, I would think, for the most part. But you see a lot of people that get into the industry, and in my opinion, it's like they just throw money at the wall in direct marketing with lists. They're like, okay, I'm gonna go buy this 100,000 list of absentee owners, whatever they're like, the last thing they heard on YouTube, basically, right? Whatever they last saw, and they just throw money at it. And I'm not saying they won't get deals out of it. They will get some deals out of it. But it comes down to like, what is that deal actually costing you in real life? Like I know, because what happens is we just look at it as a wholesaler, and you're like, oh my God, I made whatever it was, 10,000, 9,000, 11,000, and you start on this like drug fixation, if you will, of house to house, which is really paycheck by paycheck
deal
type
to
of concept. Deal to deal concept, which is where they can't scale at either.
No, that's the hustling too, right? That's the hustling and perseverance phases where they haven't figured out profit's important. You're not going to get what you got in this without profit, and that's going to come down to knowing your metrics and numbers and not wasting money, throwing money at the wall to get another deal and get your next fix. Is really what it is.
And is that where like the list came in for you, understanding there's a difference between 100,000 absentee owners or whatever the list is, and truthfully actually having whatever the number is, making it up, 12,000 of actually highly qualified, super targeted data points to hit?
Yeah, now knowing all the data and being able to go backwards and look at it, it's roughly across the board throughout the nation, it's about 10%. You're probably throwing away 90% of your dollars on marketing if you're going after everybody. So get your 100,000 list. It's a great list everyone tells you need, but they're just wrong.
Yeah.
Right? There's 10,000 within that list that have more data points that are the ones you should be going after. And then you're not wasting money. Those at the end of the day, when you can figure out how, when you, like we did, we just went and looked and we tracked all the deals we did. And then we tracked it back to the data behind it and found, wow, every deal we did was really on this really small portion of the list. So why don't we just go after the small portion of the list and create a way to do that?
Yeah, I think there's a one piece that you just said at the very end that I want to make sure they understood. It wasn't just that you took it, scrubbed it from 100, in this example, 100,000 to 10,000.
No.
You created a process that qualified that 10,000 based off of a crazy amount of data.
Yes.
And qualified down that 10, which is what made it the hyper-focused 10,000 list.
Yes.
You think that's one of the things that separated your business personally and then what you do now? Is having that data analytics there behind it?
Yeah, data was definitely a game changer from a profitability perspective. That's the big one. I mean, it definitely made us more profitable because we weren't wasting money.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was the even bigger than that. Like that helped, but the even bigger one was once we got the whole culture in the business to shift towards focusing on relationships, right? Versus, like you just said it, everyone's focused on the deal. That's transactional based selling. And so once we shifted to just, we'll be there and we'll solve the problem when they're ready, whenever that is. It's not day one, maybe day 100, 2 years from now. We're just going to build relationships with people.
Right.
And we did that with our tenants. We did that with so we had, lower turnover in our tenancy, lower maintenance. Like it just improved. All the numbers across the businesses changed when we focused on the relationships. That was the bigger one.
For sure, dude. It seems like when I started off, and it sounds like maybe you're the same way, it was about making the next close.
Oh yeah.
And just hyper focused on, it didn't matter if I was doing 50 fix and flips. It was like, no, the next one, the next one, the next one. And I totally missed a boat in personal life and business that, dude, it was all relationship.
Oh yeah.
All relationship based. And that's, I think for me, one of the big turning points was when I focused on long-term relationships and building them out for us. And I remember building them out for tenants, the relationships, which a lot of people don't really do, especially in single-family landlording. Maybe huge companies that do, multifamily, but it's unique in single-family, focusing on relationships.
It is.
And what that tenant's going through, where they're at in life, and then how to create the rules, the guidelines, that they understand them, but it's still relationship-based.
It is.
Yeah, it's crazy process. Talk to me about the software, CRM. How did you, first let me back up. Let me ask you this first, because before I leave the marketing listing side. If I were to ask you, for the viewers that are out there looking for deals right now, how would you tell them if they wanted to go find, say, a fix and flip deal using marketing, how would you tell them to go find a fix and flip deal right now?
Yeah, I would tell them, especially because thinking about the money you're going to make off the fix and flip, it all starts with starting with the right data. You can go, you said it earlier, I can go buy 100,000 lists, I can go mail all of them.
Right.
I'm going to get a deal. Right? But you're going to waste your money and you're going to lose way more than you realize until you finally figure out numbers. So I would focus on, you've got to get the data.
Accurate data.
You've got to get the accurate data. So go get an absentee list, go get the tax foreclosure, go get the code violations, go get all the inheritance probates from your courthouse. You can get all this data for free. Go down to the county records, go down to the courthouses, get all that data, right? Stack it. I call it stacking, but stack it all. So you're looking for the properties that are on multiple points. So this property is an absentee, It's also in foreclosure, and it's
Okay.
got a tax default notice, or a
Gotcha.
code violation, or a water shutoff, or a divorce situation, or a financial. Name your pain point, right?
Okay.
That's how you take 100,000 property addresses and you find the 10,000 that have multiple points,
Okay.
right? When you combine those data points, your golden goose is there. That's your motivated seller. Who's more motivated? Someone whose house is absentee, or someone whose house is absentee, just got a tax foreclosure notice and went into a probate situation, or
Right.
went
Code
vacant,
violations
or
and-
code violation, or a water shutoff. You know there's multiple factors of stress,
Okay.
right? I.e. from the relationship side, problems you can solve.
Right.
Go after those
That's a
people.
great point with the relationship. Yeah.
Yeah, go after those people and solve their problem. You'll get the best fix and flip deals you'll ever have. They'll be the most profitable, and you won't waste money getting there.
And you kind of coined the term stacking,
Yeah,
list stacking.
Yeah, list stacking. We came up with it a few years ago. It was our catchphrase on laser targeting your data. All we did was stack data. We list stacked.
Yeah.
And we went
So
after
you
the
took
right properties.
all those different lists, in theory, stacked them.
Yeah.
And then filtered them into the top X amount that was left over with all the data points.
Yeah,
Or
we,
the
we,
pain.
we built a machine for ourselves that basically said, let's go dump all this data in here from all the different pain points, and at the end, click a button that says, that's got 3 or more pain points. Okay, let's go after all those.
That's what you
That's
created.
it. That was
basically.
list stacking. That's what we created, was a list stacking machine.
We're a machine, if you will, software.
Yep, software.
You're dumping them in, and it's spitting it out back to you and saying, like, out of this 5 list of 323,000 leads,
Yep.
here's your 13,000, whatever, that you should really go hit.
Yes.
Because if you have 3 or more pain points, into them.
Yep.
Dude, that makes complete freaking sense
It
as to
changed
why
it
that
for
would
us.
be way, way better and way more accurate marketing.
Made us way more profitable.
Yeah. Because your dollar per acquisition, dollar per lead is plummets.
It's
Because
about
really that
90%.
100,000 lists that you're going to market, you would have hit those 13,000, let's say, and you would have closed some deals on them.
100%.
It's just that you had to spend $100,000 or 100,000 marketing pieces
Yep.
when you should actually only spent 13,000 marketing pieces and got the same results, probably if not better, because you probably actually could hit them 4 more times now for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Versus
we had less
100,000.
chaos. We had less leads to manage that were coming in the door,
That's
because
true,
you're going
too.
to get so many phone calls from the 100,000 that are a waste of
That
your
are
time.
worthless, right.
Right. You will have the deals.
Yeah.
But now it's harder to find those deals.
you're right,
'cause
dude.
You're kind of
Think
like
about that.
you're mining through all the coal that came in.
Yeah.
to find the gold. When I just want to go after the gold.
Yeah, it's a brilliant angle. I never really dove deep into wholesale. I always put the fix and flip, and then I would only wholesale when someone would offer me more money. I'm like, all right, I'll give it to you.
Yep.
That's really how I did the wholesale game. But dude, what you're saying like makes me want to go wholesale all of a sudden because I'm like, oh shit, that makes like complete sense of how you scaled it and grew it. The piece I'm getting into here is the machine that you built. Is that the realestateinvestor.com?
Yeah, that is the foundation of what
foundation
is
of it.
now realestateinvestor.com, right?
Okay.
It's the tools, the platform that
Uh-huh.
if you don't have that, there's, everything else we do, there's no point.
Right.
Because you're wasting money on your marketing. You can do that. We'll still teach you to be successful, but we'd like to teach you to be successful and profitable.
Right.
And so you need the foundational tools that are going to get you there. And that's it. That's why realestateinvestor.com is what it is. The platform is the foundation of all of it, because it saves you 90% of your marketing dollars not going after all the coal, and then it meticulously builds the relationships for you on autopilot, so that all you have to do is have the conversations with the people that you need to solve problems for when they're ready.
Okay, so the piece I'm going to get into with you is the piece that another piece I think is super important is understanding, let's call it the sales cycle of a deal, right?
Yep.
Because like a lot of times people think when they get into real estate and wholesale, they're going to send out postcards
Yep.
and get a call and show up at the person's house tomorrow, close it,
Yep.
and 10 days later, cash buyer buys it, all cash.
Of course.
In their brain, that's what they're assuming is going to take place.
Yes.
And realistically, that sales cycle could freaking be a year long. Of they called you, but you may not close it for 9 more months.
Yep.
In that process, right?
Totally.
Okay. To me, that's right where all the breakdown takes place at.
It is.
It's also, to me, lead gen is obviously a massive piece. The other massive piece to me would be how you, I'll use the word follow up and manage all these properties that you spent the money on lead gen, but are just not ready yet. And you got to either put them in the crock pot, if you will, let them bake. Or I think what most wholesalers do is just let them go. And they, again, have then pissed away more marketing dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
The CRM software that you built was a piece that addressed that one?
Yeah, that was the shift to relationships that that tripled our business and set the stage for us to scale my real estate business, right?
Right.
And the magic behind that was exactly that. We figured out, okay, well, if we have all these leads coming up, and going back to what you said, everyone thinks they're going to get a deal on the first phone call.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time you're not.
It doesn't
right? It just doesn't. You will get. We call it the bluebird. 1 in 125 leads. Metrically, we know this. 1 in 125 leads will be that.
The unicorn.
The ones that call in, right?
Right.
But on average, the 1 in 20 or 1 in 30, depending on what market you're in, right, are deals you can get on follow-up. There's a Harvard study that says it's somewhere between 8 and 12 touches. Google's done some things that say it's probably north of 25 plus touches. So you just have to be there when they're ready. And I think the biggest and best businesses at this, and what the CRM was predicated on for me, was how do I be there 6 months from now, 9 months from now, 2 years from now, if it takes them that long to be ready. And then just remember, I'm a guy that will buy a house and solve your problem.
Right.
And so, number one, that's it. We automated the communication channel. So we took a process that we knew we had to do it. So we hired multiple VAs and scaling. We had multiple people doing all this follow up because I came from sales, so I knew we had to follow up.
Okay.
Right. When we figured out how to automate this with leveraging technology, changed everything for us. Knocked our overhead down because technology could do all that for us, and then all we had to do was talk to the people that were ready when they were ready and focus on the relationship. So yeah, that's a foundational piece to what we do.
Give me, if you can, give the viewers here a kind of maybe a walking timeline to a certain degree of what the CRM will do on automation, which normally you would have just done yourself or with the VAs, right?
Yep.
Give me like a walking timeline. So let's say I'm a customer, you hit me with your postcard.
Yep.
I call in, let's just say I call in.
Yep.
We have a conversation about ABC, whatever it is I'm going through, but I'm not ready to sell tomorrow, right? I'm still finding whatever I'm working through, forbearance right now, whatever it is I'm going through, right?
Yep.
Give me a timeline. Like what should the viewer kind of project or want to do there?
Yeah, I'll tell you even better. This is what they should do.
Okay.
They should, number one, because they probably threw that lead away and forgot about it.
Right, because they're not ready
to
close.
Call or text that person back in a handful of days.
Okay.
Hey, was just thinking about you. Didn't know if anything changed or if you were ready to consider an offer, right? In a perfect world, they'd send them a text. And so I'm relating it to what the software does, but this is what you should do on your own.
Yeah, irrelevant,
even if you
right?
just have
This is how
some
it
leads,
works.
right?
Yeah.
You should send them a personalized text. Hey, just thinking about you. Didn't know if something changed and you're ready to buy more houses. Or I just freed up some more cash and I know you weren't ready a handful of days ago, but maybe you are now. They should call them. Now, in the software, we actually send them a voicemail from you, so as it makes them think that you called them and left them a message.
Okay.
But if you don't have that, call them, reach out. You should send them an email if you have their email address. Because some people, the thing is you have to touch people in multiple ways because you don't know what they're going to respond
I mean, right
to.
there you hit text,
I'm a texter.
you hit phone, and you hit email.
I'm a texter. I'll never check my voicemail.
Yeah, I don't either, yeah.
But some people will.
Yeah.
I'm horrible with email because it's efficiency of business. I don't open my emails, but a lot of people do.
Right.
About 20% open your emails. So you have to touch them in multiple ways so that you can get them to respond, right? And then a week later, do that again. Another week, do that again. At some point, start to tier that off, right? Maybe a couple weeks from now, do that. Maybe a month after that, do that. And at some point, usually between 30 and 60 days, I say, especially if they responded to direct mail originally, you should send them another postcard, totally different. Like front-end postcard mail should be some cheap piece, right? Because expenses. Back-end postcard on a follow-up, so there should be some premium, high-gloss, multi-color, grab their attention and make sure they open it. They responded to it before, maybe they will now. You need to keep being there and letting them know that you have money, you're here to solve a problem. I have money, I'm here to solve a problem. Is there anything I can help you with? Relationship part. Anything I can do for you? Now our software and what we developed was, we were doing that manually. We just automated it so that it happened in the background to everybody, to the thousands of leads, so we could scale, right? I didn't want to scale and hire 20 people full time to do that when technology could do it.
Right.
I mean, so the software does all 4 of those touch points
automatically,
whenever and is forever, until you actually transact with them, right, and make a profit, and then it'll stop. It'll just stop doing it.
At some point, if it's a year, you turn it off?
No. I personally would never turn it off.
Keep going at them.
Yeah.
Voicemail,
the only way it'll
text.
stop is because they've asked us legally to opt them out, or they sold the house, and I can verify that, and I would opt it out.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, I think there's always, the potential is there. They raised their hand, they called you for a reason. There's something there.
So breaking it down, obviously phase 1 is lead gen.
Yes.
With hyper-focused data.
Yep.
If I give you a phase 2, it would be creating a follow-up system that's hitting this customer repeatedly without you having to actually go do it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question on the software or the CRM. When, say, a text message goes out to ABC customer, is it coming from like my cell phone, or is it coming from a third-party line? How does it work on that side?
Yeah, if you're doing it yourself, it'd be your cell phone.
Sure,
but in the software, we build in local area codes.
Okay.
So when you do your front-end marketing, you would have set up what we call a campaign, right? So on your postcard, you put a local phone number on there that they think is your phone number, right? Okay. So when they call, you answer, or someone on your team answers. They're going to get their automated follow-up from that same phone number.
From that same campaign that goes through there.
All the way through. So it's also the repetitiveness of them just seeing the same phone number over and over and over and over and over again, and now they're ready.
Tell me about the voicemail. I'm so intrigued by this.
Yeah.
Because I'm a scaling person, so my brain is just like running right now. On the voicemail, who records the message? Is it individualized? I'm assuming it's not. It's more like you have a message recorded that hits certain types of sellers, maybe. How does the voicemail work?
Yeah, it's not 100% personalized where you're saying, hey Andrew, right. I can't get that good, but I can say, hey, I was just following up with you about your property, right? Generic enough, but still personalized enough without their personal name in it. And then in the software, you can have multiple different types of voicemails. So I recommend, if you have a team, each person on the team records voicemails specific to their job role for you. So the messages that go out to people that they're working with are coming from the person they would normally interact with or have. If it's just you, they should all be you. If you have an assistant that does all of your phone calls and schedules your appointment, they should all be from your assistant. They should be whoever would normally interact, so they've already talked to the person on the phone before. They're going to recognize the voice, and we're going to repeat it. You're going to hear them over, and you can change the message. Every single message can be different, right? But the point is, some people need to hear your voice to do business with you. Some people love and will interact with text. Some people want a piece of mail because they're old school and it's the way they work. And some people love email. So we do all 4 because I don't care which one it is.
Right, sure.
I just want to be there when you're ready.
And you just keep
hitting them. I want to nurture you.
You just keep hitting them on those 4 pieces over on automation.
Automation.
So me as the investor, I wouldn't even know, let's say I looked in the CRM. I wouldn't even know where that person is in the cycle of, this is their, they went through the first 4, and now they're on the phase number 7, which is back to a ringless voicemail being dropped on them. I really wouldn't even know, nor do I really care, right? I'm just waiting for them to hit me back and say, hey, I got your voicemail, I'm ready to go.
We notify you or your team member as soon as you get a reply, because that's the only thing you care about.
Right.
Now, of course, there are people that want to go dig, see, and look, and it's there, right? But the point of it is that you don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, you don't want to do
right?
that.
I just need to talk to the people that are ready.
Yeah.
And I can go generate thousands of more leads of possible. Now, this is if you're scaling, right? But even at a small scale, a couple hundred, how are you going to follow up with those personally unless you have something to do it for you?
Right.
Right, so it's the same thing. And yeah, I don't care. I just want, every day, I want to spend my time talking to potentially motivated sellers that are ready to sell now.
Well, I think it's a mistake that a lot of businesses make. I've made it. I'm going to tie it to wholesale right here, is most wholesalers are spending their time doing something that is actually not making them the money, right? Like, if you're a wholesaler, you should want to spend 100% of your time with that sitting down with and closing the deal on motivated sellers.
Yes.
Because that's where the money's at.
Yep.
Anything besides that right there, I would try to find another way to go about it. And I don't want to spend 100% of my time, here's my calendar, tell me at 2 o'clock I'm here at this appointment with the motivated seller, and at 4 o'clock I'm at this appointment with the motivated seller. Because that's where the money lies.
That's it. I had a great mentor that revenue RGAs, you need to be focused on your revenue generating activities and not doing all the $10 an hour work, so to speak. If there's something that could be paid $15 an hour or less, somebody else or technology should be doing that for you. Because I'm with you, bro. I need to be only talking to someone who has the potential that I can do a deal with, because it's the only thing that brings cash back into the business.
It goes back to, why did you even get in the business in the first place, bro?
Yes.
You got in the business to make money, and you go spend time doing something that has nothing to do with money, but it does give you the busy feeling.
It does.
And I think people get, again, I'm gonna go back to our grinding conversation, hustling conversation, is it creates this hustle, and it feels like hustle, and it actually is hustle, but I don't think it's what you're looking for. What you're looking for is to close the deal and make them profit inside the deal, right? You know what I mean? Yep. Yeah, super unique. In any of your software that you're using, are you applying or using VAs for the person? Like if I was your customer, right? Like I had this software and I said, here, I want to mail this out, and it started the auto sequence. Is there any point where let's say it would be me because I'm your customer, am I using VAs, or is that a no?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
Right, because there is that comes into the scaling, right? Because starting out, you got hundreds. Automation's going to do that, and you don't mind talking to people, right?
Okay.
At some point, there's going to be so many of those that the next thing you need to hire, unless you want to just stick in hustle mode and be busy all the time, which some will, because they're creating their own crutch to not go to the next level.
Right.
They've got to hire somebody. One of the first things they need to hire is when all those people reply. That doesn't mean they're actually ready. Right, they're just ready for another touch point, another conversation, but they may not be ready for the actual appointment yet. You need someone to be doing that. You need someone, and a VA is perfect for that, right? Because it doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be a high-level person. It's a $10 an hour job, and so we, at realestateinvestor.com, we literally have done for you services for those people, so that as you're scaling, do you want to go hire, train, and manage a person? Because that's the next thing that sucks, right? You get it, you start doing deals, and then you're hiring people and firing them, and hiring people and firing them, and you can't figure out how to train them. So we saw that, and we solved that problem for our customer, and said, look, how about if you just have a VA that we hire, we train, we manage, and they know the platform inside and out. They'll just work in your account, and they'll do all that grunt work, and they'll just schedule the appointments for you. So you have another level of qualifying the person to why they're sitting down with you at 4 o'clock today.
Right.
You should just be sitting down, closing the contracts and negotiating the deals. That's the highest level work.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there a lot of wholesalers that you work with to see that get to that point?
Yeah, and I like the 80-20 rule. I just read the book, so it's
that's
like,
a great principle.
Man, it's made me. He was right. He said you'll just keep applying it everywhere you walk. And I'm like,
you will?
I think about 20% of my people are stuck in not doing that because they're hiring and firing and just won't figure it out. And then there's 20% of the people that 100% they've taken off because they do that, and then they continue to hire, right? Then they replace themselves and they don't even go to the appointment. But that's not a VA.
Right.
You can. Some I've seen do it with VAs, but most you need a talented professional salesperson.
I was interviewing just recently a company that all they do is VAs. They got like 800 VAs that work for them, and it was weird because kind of before it, I was I just had this skepticism of it's not going to work with a VA because of what you're saying. Like I'm like, dude, I'm not going to hire this person in the Philippines. Then I got to explain to him what I want done. Then I got to manage that expectation. And then I got to go through this process, and it's like I stay away from it. And then when he was like breaking it down for me, he's like, no. Where they're actually doing majority of it for you.
Yep.
I was like, my God, I should go hire a ton of VAs right now for production purposes.
Yep.
And it sounds like yours, here's for business in general.
Yeah.
Yours is kind of niche market in the VAs, where yours are hyper-focused on answering the calls for coming in, scheduling appointments, qualifying that lead, and then giving it to me to go close it, if you will.
Yeah,
very
totally.
Niche.
We're very specific to what fits our platform, right?
Yeah.
And so the biggest things are people don't want to manage scheduling their marketing to go out So a VA can do that, and our VAs do that. Then when everyone responds, because no matter how good you are at laser targeting, you're still going to have people that call and hang up. You're going to have people that call and tell you to get lost.
Right.
Right. A VA can scrub that through and tell the system not to follow up with those people or to follow up with those people. And then you'll get to the next level with RVAs again. Someone should schedule all the appointments for you and make sure the person is ready today for the appointment and not just send you out to they're not really ready.
A door that no one opens.
Yeah.
When you get there.
They get the open doors and they schedule those appointments and then you just focus on that. So RVAs are very specifically trained on just those things and highly scripted and done. Now, there are other VAs you probably should hire that we don't currently do, but we will. Like we'll probably find a company like that to bring them into our marketplace and allow you to get the administrative tasks done or really the production part. What are the things what other things could VAs do for me? Because there's a lot, right?
On your VAs that you kind of niche market there, and I love it because your VAs actually work inside the software, which is like, I just see my workload going down basically.
Yes.
Do your VAs do any side of the closing transactional side? So let's say that I got the deal on a contract. Obviously, we're going to go to double close or whatever it is. Do yours schedule that? Do any of that side of it?
No.
Because that's what that's one of the things his would do. I'm like, yeah, that'd be so freaking great.
We can't do we can by leveraging relationships like him.
Yeah.
I probably know who it is, most likely, and that's what we would do, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the ask for that. We have not done that because what we found for us, at least, was everyone had slight differences depending on their marketplace or slightly different needs. So the VAs we know they all have the same process. That process isn't going to change. The system is the same. When you get into that, we'll partner with the right sources to give you the administrative people, the closing, because you should have a VA for all that. You absolutely could have someone that does all that production.
A lot of it's just checklist paperwork over and over and over again, as closings most of the time are, right?
Yep.
I want to ask you a question about, let's talk about kind of maybe phase 3 of a deal, which is maybe the hardest part, which is actually closing it, right? Like you could have great leads, right? Great follow-up to book the appointment, but at the end of the day, if you can't close it, it's kind of all for naught. Yep. You just wasted a ton of money. So what would you tell someone how they could, someone watching, maybe they haven't closed a deal, maybe they've closed deals, but they struggle with it. What would you tell them how to close a wholesale deal?
Yeah, so number one, right, they got to start, get the right list, get the right data, market it. Okay. Number 2, follow up. They got to be following up because they're going to miss out on opportunities if they don't.
Swings at the bat, basically.
Yeah, totally. They got to be there, or because it's a learned experience, right? Like you're going to get better at this. As we were talking earlier, right? Like recognize it's okay that you're going to suck at first anything you do. Just go do it anyways. Right. You'll get better with each one. You'll learn something. Now, how to close the deal is don't focus on the deal.
Okay.
I know everyone just said, what? No, I need to focus on the deal. Someone said 70% of ARV minus repairs, that's the number. They got to get that number. I have no deal. No. Step back and focus on why they want to sell. If you can master that, you'll close more deals than you ever thought possible. And really the way I do it, so how I close a deal and get it done, is simply, I love saying this, and my oldest son loves mentioning it all the time, right? We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Right.
We were created to listen. So if you go into a house with, I got to get the deal with this number, you're transactional based, you won't get it. First of all, you would feel that if someone did that to you, and you probably felt it.
They can feel it and sense it, man.
And they do too.
Yep.
Right? So if you go in and now how I disarm a person is I'm going to ask them questions about their house first and foremost. Got to get them comfortable talking to me. Once that happens, start asking them questions about what they like about their house, what they've done to their house, what they're going to do with the money if you give it to them, like multiple different ways, and listen to the answers, because within those answers, every seller will tell you why they want to sell.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be their kid moving somewhere else, the money they need to solve this, lien that just came onto them, the
hospital
lost
bill.
A job, hospital bills. You already know they have a constraint. You don't have to talk about it. Right. Ask them without leading to the foreclosure or the tax thing or the thing you know about. It's going to come out and then solve that problem. I have a good friend. I love how he's done over 7,500 deals. And he said, it's funny, our contracts don't even say the price we're buying the house at. 90% of the time. I said, well, that's interesting. And he said, yeah, we created a culture of we solve problems. I said, well, I'm totally in line with that. He said, so how we do it is we ask the seller, what do you want? And at the end, they recap and say, so Mr. Seller, what I hear you saying is you need $10,000 in your pocket and you need that mortgage to go away. Yes? Got it. They send over a contract that says, we're going to give you $10,000 at closing, and we're going to, contingent upon us paying off your mortgage, and it goes away. And so that's how they write up and structure their contracts. So literally their whole conversation is congruent all the way through down to the closing.
That's super interesting because they're not, a lot of times in those deals, you get both sides, right? Get hyper focused on, I'll pay you whatever it is, 121,000.
Yes.
Another person's like, no, it's 145 that I need. And then you're really just talking about a number at that point, right? That, what he kind of did geniusly was took the focus off of, let's just debate over this number and let's rearrange it to talk about what you actually need. And we'll just focus on that process. Understanding he knew the number that he could pay up to, that doesn't change, right? The 70% minus rehab costs on the LTV of the ARV, he knows what that number is. He's just kind of backdooring it into it. That is freaking brilliant, dude.
It was
brilliant.
I did it by focusing on the asking, listening for why, knowing the number I got to get to, but we still did the number. His was like, wow. That can totally get your whole culture to buy into that.
The times I did wholesale, I did that concept, but like not to that level where I didn't put the price on it, because I would, like probably what you were saying, I would find out what the pain was. Okay, maybe it was moving, like, my God, I don't know where I'm gonna go. And I would even just solve that problem. Like I would say, okay, how about I just go rent you this apartment over here? I'll pay your security deposit, your down payment. Like I would just come up with creative solutions to fix whatever that real issue was they were facing, but tied it back to the purchase price, right? It's all kind of built into it. That's a cool process that he just kind of like ignored the purchase price and said, I'll just give you this and this and we'll be good. It took the whole price away.
It was the most
brilliant
thing I've ever seen. I'm like, that's awesome. Because I did it like you. I tied it all to the price and we wrote in what we'll do for you. Right. But it was still a price.
Right? And then you would still come down and negotiate over the price. And I would try to bring him back to, we're going to solve this or solve this, right? It was a cool way. One thing I think about wholesaling that I think a lot of investors make a mistake on when they get into the house or the negotiation is they come across just naturally as a shark. And they don't even know they're doing it, I feel like sometimes. And they're pouring gasoline on a situation, on a fire, instead of defusing the process. Is there any advice you could give on how they could not come across as a shark, diffuse a situation? Because some of those situations are tense, right? It's an awkward, tough process for everybody. And I think a lot of wholesalers naturally come in because they're focused on ARV, LTV, what's the maximum I'm allowed to offer you on this property, and the homeowner doesn't care about that. They don't care about your ARV or your LTV. It's irrelevant to them, right? What's some tricks that you found throughout the years of trying to diffuse a situation?
It's a big one, right? And it's number one, it's going to come back to the whole, you can't be transactional based. You're coming across as a shark. That's the feeling they're feeling because you are.
This was creating
right?
It naturally.
You are coming in with a number in mind and you're focused on the number and they feel it. So some things I've learned even before real estate that helped are, and it's why I use their house and other things about them to build a relationship. You've got to find a way to get them to talk to you. The more people talk about themselves, the more they naturally like you and trust you. So you have to ask them questions. A really good tactic, if you want to get really, really good at this, is as you're walking in the house, as you're approaching the house, what you should be aware of and focused on is anything that grabs your attention that is something you know or like yourself. Right? So like maybe you'll notice, the way they cut their grass or cut their bushes, right? Or something on their porch, or you walk into their house and you see a picture of something you like too, or a sports fan, or a jersey, or whatever it is, find something. Don't find something fake, find something you actually like, connects to you in some way. Almost everybody has something.
There's a piece
something.
Somewhere.
Something. Ask about it, right? It seems so like, it doesn't matter, it's not gonna do it, but it will, because then let them talk, right? And the more you let them talk and the more questions you ask them about themselves, they will naturally like you and trust you, and their guard will turn off, and then you can get into the other things. You don't even have to talk about the numbers at that point. You literally can continue to have the conversation, and if you get as you get really good at this is where you're finding the problems and you're solving the problems. But they'll come out by you asking more about their personal life. And if you can find a connection, it's the best way.
Right.
Right? Because it's something you could talk about too, which makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
It doesn't come across fake or ingenuine, right? It comes on very natural and real to them. I totally agree with the listening part, because anytime I've ever done these deals on the wholesale side, if I could get them talking, they naturally would just divulge what it was. Of course, a lot of times when you go in, they are more standoffish, guards are up, the shark feeling is there. And as long as I could find a way to get them to talk, right? Not even about the price or the how, just talk. If I just listen, I could find that pain that they're talking about, because it's what's in their life right there, right now, and they'll talk about it.
Yep.
If you get them talking.
Yes.
Last piece I want to ask you here on the negotiation side, because I love the negotiation side of any type of business. In wholesaling, I always found better success when I would address the elephants in the room with them, in the sense of, I think sometimes wholesalers feel like because this person is in foreclosure or tax lien or whatever it is, that they're almost like, to a certain point, ignorant of life somehow. It's like, bro, they're not ignorant of life. They just came across a hard time, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
They're just as normal as you are in life, right? And I know a lot of times it's like, I think wholesalers aggressively go after the close, the transaction.
Yep. And
I always notice that the motivated seller would logically be thinking about, like, yeah, but can I just sell this house on the market? Like, could I just hire maybe they're not super versed in real estate, but they kind of still understand how it works in as far as selling on a MLS or whatever it is, right? And I always found I had better success just like addressing it. Because most of the time, it's not going to work out, like the time frame or whatever it is, right? It's not there for them. Do you ever address the kind of, let's say, the elephants in the room of what else they're thinking they could go do besides just selling you the property outright?
100%. I actually I call it flaunting the objection.
Okay.
Same idea, right? I tend to do it on the phone, front end before even the appointment.
Okay.
Because I love to find the motivation.
Sure.
Right? And we do a lot of buying over the phone. But in the house, same thing. When I get there, it's part of when I said there's a lot of questions I'm going to ask to open them up. That's one of them. If I feel like, and again, it's listening to them. Right. If I feel anything that is making them sound like the house is great, which is the indication that they know they could do other things, I'm always going to ask that question. I use it as so it's a closing tactic too. I call it a takeaway, right? Where I'm literally going to say, man, this house is actually pretty great. It's a really nice house. You guys have an amazing story and history with the property. You're tied to it. You've done some great, whatever they've told me, right? I'm going to use pieces that are story. And I really don't think you should sell it to me. I really don't understand why wouldn't you just call the local agent and list this property on the market, and just go sell it that way? Why?
And you bring it to them.
I've now put them in a position to I got rid of the objection that they could have came up with. Right. And I put them in a position where now they have to sell me on why I should buy the house. I know they want me to buy the house. I know they don't want to go that route. I don't know 100% why they don't want to go that route. I have an idea why they don't, right?
Sure.
But now they're in the position where I got rid of the objection. It's no longer an objection for me.
Right.
It got rid of the monkey in the room, elephant in the room, and now they've got to sell me on why they want me to buy the house.
Yeah, you reverse it.
And pay them.
Take away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always did it from a standpoint, I viewed it as a standpoint of, if the end objection was for me to get to the end of the runway, or the hallway, I called it sometimes. This is where I can actually close the deal. Along this hallway of a house, there's doors. And these doors are all opened in their brain of opportunities that they could go do this, they could call this person or whatever it is.
Yep.
And until I got them to close that door, I could never get them to sell me the property. Totally. Right? Especially at a certain price point, right? Because in their brain, they're still looking at it a lot of times like, well, my neighbor sold over here for X.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, that's not even close to what we're talking about. And unless I could get them to close those doors, which is why I'd always just address the elephant in the room. Like, I would bring up, have you thought about leasing the house out to somebody? right? Let's just talk, because you got to think they thought of that conversation or that concept.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't understand all of it or how it worked or how it was going to benefit or hurt them. I just bring it up and eventually get them to basically admit, yeah, that's not going to work at all, actually. The more I think about it, yeah, there's no way it's going to work.
Yeah.
Then I could get to the end transaction there, at the end of the hallway, if you will.
Yeah, totally. There's another really good part of a presentation we teach for doing it in the house, which is as you walk the house and you get to see the things and pointing out to them like, oh, wow, what's that? Did you know that? What's that crack, right? What's the wrong things? Then if you've done your homework, right, on the neighborhood, the area, the sales, all that, you can actually present all those things to them and walk them through all the possibilities, down to what it would cost to do that rehab, to get the retail value, the commissions you're not thinking of, the time from the listing to the closing, how much that's going to cost you, the taxes, the insurance, the holding costs, right, and break it all down. And, you know, if I was buying the house, I'd have to make a fair modest profit to feed my family. You literally could build that all in mathematically for them, showing, or you could just go list it. Right? Which one would you prefer to do? Or there's a lot of people now doing the hybrid model, which I'm adopting too, which is just present them both offers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, you can list your house for X.
Yeah.
Or we can buy it for Y.
Yeah,
what works better for you?
Yeah. What about this concept, which I never really got into, but some people live and preach by it, which is like basically making like 3 or 4 offers, where it's like cash offer, you know, more of a subject to land contract, you know, type of offer, and then a listing it offer. Do you get into like the multiple offers? I never did, because I almost felt like it confused. Too many options. Sometimes they freak out. Have you ever done those before?
So personally, no, because I'm with you. I just was like, here's it. This is what I can do. Right. I'm moving on if I can.
This is my game.
Fortunately, I've now brought in a guy that does more of that and can present it in a very good way, where he's asking the preemptive questions that lead into one of the 3, right, and then he's only showing 2, right, so really 2 paths. So that's like the hybrid of, in a perfect world, I like that we do. Look, we have built-in agents. We can just list your house, or partnerships that can list it, and so we make money off our marketing, right? That's literally something that can pay for all your marketing if you just had a marketing deal with a local agent. Or here's the cash price we can pay, the thing we want to do.
Sure.
I never did the creative finance deals, and I can tell you, looking back, I know I missed out on a lot of things, because my partner at the realestateinvestor.com, that's all he did was just creative financing deals. And some of the ones he shared with me, I'm like, there was so much more money in that deal that way than the way I did it.
For sure.
I never saw that. So my CEO that runs the real estate business now, he actually does do some creative. So and he's taken down some houses. I'm like, we're gonna make what off of that? I would have passed on that deal in a heartbeat. I
never really did a ton of them, but I always wonder, like, because I do the same thing. I look back, I'm like, my God, and a lot of them like make complete sense. Like,
they do.
For the seller, like, dude, this is a great deal for you. Matter of fact, sometimes it's their only deal that they could actually do, right? And in those cases, I was always leaving, like, well, sorry, there's nothing I can do.
I don't know what to do.
Out. You know what I mean?
I can't help you.
Crazy concept. So before we go, I want to talk about this. You wrote the book, Who Am I? I Am You. Great freaking title, dude. What was the purpose behind the book?
Yeah, the main purpose behind the book was I was actually at an event on a stage speaking.
Okay.
And I had previously done a boot camp of my own to all of our software users, and a 30-minute presentation turned into a 3-hour sob story of all of what they didn't know behind the scenes that took all the things that they would have not known. I would have this close to closing the doors or bankrupting myself to create this stuff for them, right? And so at a later stage, I was trying to figure out how to say that in a way shorter way. And in that, my marketing guy, which came the phrase, right? We were sitting at a dinner afterwards, and I'm like, you know, people love what I do. They love it. And the thing that I feel like I'm missing is most of the people in that room, in that audience, don't realize that I don't care what they're going through. They're on food stamps, Medicaid, have no money. They grew up broke. They are struggling, they're shameful, they have some guilt, shame-ridden thing, they've been to jail, they did drugs in their life, you name it. I call it the pits in the book, right? I've been in all their shoes, and looking at what they see today, they wouldn't think that, right? They would just think, that's the dude on the stage, he's mega success.
Right.
Yeah, 20 years of study, right? you don't know the story behind that. So I'm like, I need to find a way to tell people that I am them, right? I am just like them where they are in that. And what you see on stage is so many years of facing the fears and overcoming them and climbing the hills and going down the valleys and so much horrible stuff, right? And I need to share the stuff that I'm afraid to share. And so he was like, and I kept saying something, and he was like, who am I am you? Who am I am you? You're on stage, he said, I can see you on stage saying, who am I? And them repeating, I am you. So that's where the title came from.
Gotcha, yeah.
And then the book is really that story. There's a story. There's a painful story with a lot of tears behind it that were sobbed out in a very closed room to less than 100 people that then went on video. But that's the story in the book. It's literally we went through, and it's now been a year-long project. Thankfully, it worked out that way because we identified there's probably about 7 different pits, as I call it, places that you could be in, but they're all lumped into this one thing, right? Like your shame, the way you were born, the way you were raised, the mindset you have, it's BS, right? One of these things you can self-identify with, and I'm going to tell you how I got out of it because I've been there.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you how I was you, and you are me,
right?
Because where I'm at is nothing more than a shift I made, and I'm going to tell you wherever you're at how to make that same shift so you can get to where you want.
Yeah, it's brilliant, dude. I freaking love it. If they want a copy of it, where's the best way to go for to get a copy of the book?
Yeah, the best way to go is you can go to iamrob360.com, and then everything about me, social media wise, in the book, all of it will be there.
iamrob360.com.
Yes.
So we'll put that on the show notes as well. So you have realestateinvestor.com, which is the training, software, CRM, marketing side of it, right?
Totally.
And then you have iamrob360, which is you.
It's just me.
As a personal. If they want to get in touch with you, they could hit that one as well.
Yeah.
Are your social media accounts the same?
Yeah, iamrob360.com connects to all of my. It's a simplified way for you to connect with me on any social media that works for you.
Okay.
Know all of my businesses because I'm involved in a few, and I don't know what you're reaching out for, or to get to me directly.
Gotcha.
Realestateinvestor.com is all the tools done for you, services, coaching, tips, tricks, tactics about investing in real estate.
I want to ask you the money is question, and I got the sign for you of what money is, and so this is the sexy Rob here.
All right.
And so obviously we created to figure out, like, dude, money has to be more than a car, a house, right? There's got to be something that drives you.
Yep.
So put your answer here, whatever, how many words it is, sign it here, and then me and you will talk about
what it is,
what your answer is here.
Yeah, I thought it was all those things.
I think everybody starts off with those things.
Yes.
And you start to quickly realize it's not. Got it?
Yes.
All right, give me this. This right here. Okay. Answer is money is power. Money is power. Okay. I'm going through my wall right now.
Yep.
Trying to think if I have anybody that said power yet, and I don't think I do. Which is kind of a unique one because to me it really is a lot of it. But I don't think anybody's maybe had the audacity to put the word there.
Yep.
Power. All right. Why'd you put it?
So why I put power is actually a bigger word, and I was trying to think of the root of all the other words I was coming up with when I thought about this thing, right? And so, like, freedom was the first thing that came to mind.
Sure.
Right? Probably typical. For me, what I realized was that that's not what money is, right? Money is the power to have the choice to create freedom, or you can create chaos. It has the power to create war or grow and give to places. It has the power to create the lifestyle you want or destroy your lifestyle. It has the power to create amazing health within your body and your relationships and your family, and it has the power to create wealth, but it also has the power to destroy all those things, right? So for me, money was power, because it just, all it does is it gives you the power to now make those choices. You don't have to be fake to go get money from someone else for what you want. You can be real. Now, within being real, that could exemplify itself in you're going to be a healthier, greater, giving person because that's who you are at your core, or you're going to go destroy things, including yourself and your family, because you can go get very deep into drugs you couldn't afford to before, but now you have the power to do it. Gambling, right?
Right.
So money is power. At its
Yeah.
root, it's nothing more than the power to do all those things you think it is, from my perspective.
Yeah, power, you're not, if I'm following you, you're not saying power like a king as power over people. Yeah. What you're saying is it's providing you internal, if you will, power to have the ability to make choices that you originally did not have.
Yep.
And money does open doors, good and bad.
Yes.
Right? Positive and evil, right and wrong.
Yep.
But you can actually go through that door when you have money because you have the power to make that choice right there.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of times when people think power, they think king.
I wasn't going to put the word for that exact
but
reason.
But the definition behind it is dead on accurate. Like, and that's why I sometimes get frustrated with people at freedom. I'm like, no, dude, that's like elementary, like level 1 of what money. Yes,
so everybody thinks money isn't why they're after.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, no, dude. It's way more than that.
I had money and no freedom. So.
Yeah. It's way more than that. And so power is a freaking good word, man. Awesome word. I want to give you the floor here before we wrap up. You got a lot of investors here, newbies, guys that are doing deals, girls that are doing 10 deals a month, whatever it is. Looking back just in your career here, knowing what you know now, what are some like maybe final words of wisdom that you would give kind of the audience here in a farewell speech, if you will, of to help them out, grow their business, scale their business, start their business? What's some final words of wisdom you give them?
Yeah, just do it, whatever it is, right? I'm the epitome of, you heard earlier, right, of studying, and I agree with studying, I agree with learning. I think Tony Robbins might have said it best, in knowledge is not power, knowledge with applied knowledge is power. So you should learn and grow, absolutely. However, you should do that while you're applying every single thing that you're learning and know you're going to suck at it. It's okay. Don't fear failure. So I live by a motto now, I didn't in the past, which was faith over fear. I just have faith that if I keep taking steps forward, every failure that comes over my way, every fear that I come to, everything that makes me uncomfortable, if I face it and move forward, just like you should, you will get ultimately where you want. I think all good comes to us by facing our fears and moving forward and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So that would be my biggest thing to impart on you, is doing that. Have faith over fear and be comfortable being uncomfortable and take every step forward that you can. And I think Nike said it the best. Actually, I was just reminded of that in a meditation this morning. Just do it, right? Literally just do it. Don't think about it. And if you're thinking about it, then just do it, right?
Yeah,
and
dude,
that's it.
It's freaking so much good advice wrapped up there of, you just got to go do it, man. Just freaking pull the trigger. Just go do it. None of us that are here now knew everything when we went and started. Like, again, you kind of have that fear, you view you on stage. It's like, no, dude. I was the scaredy cat who didn't know what to do, who didn't understand it. And that all the advice is like from all of us is, just freaking go do it. Just trust me, go do it, right?
I failed speech in high school, but now I speak on stage.
Now you're a public speaker, right? Yeah. And again, the applied knowledge is like, again, it's a misconception that was a cool slogan, I think, knowledge is power. Mm-hmm. It's just like, no, dude, it's not even, I always say that wisdom was power.
Yeah.
In the sense of wisdom is application of knowledge.
It is.
But applied knowledge probably flows better. A lot of people don't know the definition of wisdom, but applied knowledge, and then
I like the wisdom.
You're 100% right on the. You just gotta get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because all of business is gonna keep pushing you and keep pushing you and keep pushing you, and you're gonna get uncomfortable until eventually you're like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is me growing right now.
Yep.
And I'm actually pumped that I'm in this phase of uncomfortable, and I actually like it more now. Dude, there's so much good advice you gave right there. Again, you guys want to follow Rob, IamRob360.com, software, realestateinvestor.com. They hit the CRM software. Rob, I appreciate you being on the show. We'll have some more good conversation tonight at dinner, probably about that as well. And maybe I'll go get back into wholesaling just to run the systems of it, because my mind is like, oh my God, I could do that. I appreciate you guys watching The Money Is Show. We'll see you guys next week on The Money Is Show.